Hims stock has been crashing lately with the FTC lawsuit and now Visa penalizing them $75,000 for customer complaints. So I'm going to go over exactly what's happening and also what you should expect from the stock price. Let's get into it. If you follow Hims stock at all, please give me a like and subscribe. I do talk about it pretty often. So Hims is going down 6% today. It's also on top of the 8%. It went down around 8% on Monday. So Hims has been crashing lately. So let's go over exactly why. 13% in the last 5 days it's gone down. Net 23% it's gone down since July, but it's up 105% since March. Obviously that was after the Novo lawsuit and all that stuff, and then they got it settled. Okay, great. But it's still up 105%. So if you look at this chart, yes, these are heavy swings, but the momentum and the trend is going up. So I like that. I'm going to go look at the both good and bad, but I like bad news first. So we're going to do the bad side first about Hims. Now, they're facing penalties from Visa for credit card disputes, and that it went down 8% on Monday. So they're getting fined about $75,000 in September from Visa after receiving thousands of complaints related to credit card disputes. They are now put into Visa's acquirer monitoring program following a rise in the disputes in July. Each dispute carries an $8 penalty, and it had to do with the weight loss drug subscriptions. To exit Visa's program, Hims & Hers must cut its dispute rate to below 1.5% of its transactions for 3 months. The CEO said, "We take our responsibility to be transparent with our nearly 3 million customers extremely seriously. That is why we've built a checkout process that is clear about the cost of a Hims & Hers membership and any medication a provider chooses to prescribe." Now, they're probably as clear as they can be. I've done multiple subscriptions with them, and I've also canceled multiple. It was easy to cancel, so that whole thing with the FTC lawsuit, we'll get into that in a second. The canceling was not a problem. Getting charged right away, I definitely got charged. I felt sooner, but sooner than I expected. But if I really think about it, they approved me of a medication, and if I want the medication, they're going to send it out immediately. It's electronic. It's not like I'm going to the store. Something like a Netflix, where if they cancel it, then it's done. You do not have access to their stuff. With Hims & Hers, they have to charge you, and then once they send out that bottle or whatever it is, the shots, whatever you order, then it's done. They've sent you the product. So it's a little bit different, and I think that catches people a little bit off guard. And it caught me off guard as well, but I understand it. The CEO also responded to the FTC lawsuit, and then he also sees the GLP-1 prices falling to $40, $50. I kind of think that was his way of, maybe avoiding it, because they are probably going to have to just settle. That's just what it is. I think it takes time for people to understand how to do it the right way, and we've worked for many years with the FTC to walk them through that. We are active disruptors. We take that head on, and we're willing to do it. So Andrew Dudum, CEO, is saying, look, we're disruptors. We're not doing things the normal way. So there's going to be a few speed bumps because we're going to go a different route than the normal healthcare industry has gone. So, when you normally do it, you'll pay your prescription and then you receive the bottle in your hand at the pharmacy. This is different. You're not receiving anything for days, maybe a week, right? And then you pay and then you receive something days to a week later. And so a lot of people don't understand that right now. When you have anything, you sign up for Netflix, I can sign up for Amazon as a new customer and get something delivered tomorrow, right? I could probably get something delivered in 2 hours, right? Netflix, you sign on and boom, it's immediate. So all these things are so immediate, where the medical industry, it's a little bit different. And of course, when you're at a store, it's immediate. When you pay and you get your prescription, that's how it works. So it's slightly different with how they do it. And so there's going to be some speed bumps. When a company grows, it almost always receives more complaints in absolute terms, and it frequently sees an increase in the percentage of complaints per customer if the growth is poorly managed. So maybe they're not managing it, they need to see exactly what's going on. They maybe just needs to be a little bit better management with these complaints. So Why complaint volumes can skyrocket, though the delivery gap. As businesses scale, leadership often relies on assumptions rather than direct customer feedback. So, they maybe should have seen what was going on a little bit earlier, but it also says that they've been working with the FTC and they've changed stuff. I haven't been a customer for too long, so I have not seen any updates and changes to their program or platform. Operational inefficiencies, processes that work seamlessly for a small team become chaotic and error-prone at scale. It doesn't seem like that as much for this one. Diluted customer service. Now, in a small company, founders or early employees often handle issues personally with high care, but obviously it's bigger, you have more employees. You also have employee burnout, rapid growth, strains existing staff, overwhelming workers, cut corners and all that. But again, that's not exactly what's going on. And then communication breakdown, internal departments become isolated. So it's just, as it's growing, it's just, as you can see, complaints will happen as you grow because things get just a little bit harder. Now, here's another thing. A customer is 3 times more likely to leave a negative review or complaint rather than leaving a positive one. Right? Now, when looking at specifically at unprompted, right? No one's prompt, like a prompt would be like saying, hey, what do you think of this? Right? You are 3 times more likely to leave a negative review than a good one, right? If someone asks you. But if you just have your own experience and you just want to get it out, if you are unhappy, you're up to 10 times more likely to write a review. That's insane, right? About a negative review. So it's like, it's crazy, but that's just what's going on right now, right? So you have a lot of growth and a lot of people complaining, and that's just what happens. Now, according to the documents, Hims and Hers, they incurred roughly 9,375 credit card disputes and complaints in a single month. The reason why, the $75,000, it's a massive surge from July 2026. So if there's an $8 fine for each individual dispute, and it's nearly $75,000, it's just under $9,400. So that's how they got the math. The 1.5 threshold, again, they have to have the dispute rate below 1.5% for 3 consecutive months to get out of that program. Now, here's the bad thing, that Hims and Hers complaint and dispute volumes are significantly higher than normal benchmarks for a company of its size, right? It has about 3 million customers. So like I said, I'm gonna go over Netflix and Spotify in a second, but the FTC revealed it amassed 4,800 consumer complaints against Hims and Hers over a 5-year period. So 4,800 FTC complaints with roughly 3 million active users. Now, that's kind of a lot, obviously, but again, they're disrupting this industry and you're dealing with sensitive things. You're dealing with medication, which is not cheap. Netflix, Spotify, all this stuff, very cheap. Also quick, you get it immediately. Hims and Hers could be hundreds of dollars, it could be $50, $100 to $200. I did the advanced labs. I think that was $300. So it's like you can do these things and you get charged right away, and yet you don't see something for a couple days to a week, right? So I understand for people that, that's how it is. DirecTV, historically regarded as one of the most complained about subscription businesses in America, triggered roughly 4,000 FTC complaints over a similar multi-year time frame, but did so managing a massive base of over 20 million subscribers, right? So they had almost 7 times as many customers and had the same amount, actually less complaints in the same time frame. Now you have Netflix or Spotify, large-scale digital subscription companies with tens of millions of users rarely face more than a few hundred complaints total, as their standard single-click online cancellation flows prevent users from escalating issues to a federal agency. Now, again, I think Hims and Hers is more because what happens is you get charged right away. It's for a medical thing, and their customer service was not set up as good. It wasn't set up to efficiently get people their money back and do this, because like I said, I got charged really quickly. I've had my customer service, the messaging and stuff like that, and it just takes a while. I'm like, okay, that was kind of bothering me, just to be honest. So it's going to have its complaints. So it's going to be interesting to see what the settlement will be, but there will be a settlement. Now, why does HIMSS have disproportionate complaint ratio? So it's fundamentally out of whack compared to other subscription businesses because the intentional friction in the user experience. So this is what they're basically saying, which the FTC outlined an ongoing deceptive billing lawsuit. So hidden cancellation mechanics. So unlike the traditional where you can easily opt out, HIMSS actively hid its cancellation opt-in behind a misleading menu button, add or remove items from this order. I don't believe that it wasn't like that for me. I was in this in July. Yeah, July, that was just last month. Yeah. I had subscription for months before this, actually. Months. It's not add or remove items from order. You just click stop. Like, I just want to stop, and you tell it when to stop. You give a date. Like, it's there. So I'm a little confused. Predatory refill timelines. It says they frequently bill customers for expensive drug refills 10 days earlier than advertised, catching them off guard. I don't know about that. I mean, there are times where I'm like, oh man, but then I get my refill. So, I mean, you're dealing with a product, you're dealing with a actual physical medication product, not just streaming, even DirecTV. I mean, yeah, they're giving you a box, right? A cable box and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's so much digital. They could just stop it and take away, right? Streaming, all of that, Spotify, Netflix, you don't do it, they cancel, now you can't access it easily. But with this, they're serving you a full month, 2 months, 3 months. I have a medication that it's a refill of, I believe, 2 to 3 months. And, so it's just a little interesting. And then the medical mirage, I do agree with this, that says the FTC alleges HIMSS took billing information during intake, promising they wouldn't be charged unless the doctor approved a prescription. In reality, thousands of customers were immediately billed and enrolled in auto-renewing subscriptions before ever receiving a medical consultation. So, when we want to talk about a medical consultation, I do agree with this. You don't get to talk to anybody. What happens is they send your information to a medical provider who then just approves of you. And that is your medical consultation, kind of. I believe when I did the Wegovy, I did get a little bit more of a back and forth of what I wanted, but it definitely, I got that feeling in the beginning of like, oh wow, it was quick. Like I felt like they're a lot quicker to approve you of something than they are to respond to a question. That's one thing, right? They will approve you like this. They'll get you going and charge you. But the moment you send a message to them, hey, I have a question about this. Can I get the... It takes them a while. They're like, what's going on, right? So, again, HIMSS is growing, and they're going to have to figure these things out and to make it more efficient, right? But it's also the medical field, the medical industry, so it's a little bit touchy. So now we did all the bad stuff, right? That's 13 minutes of bad stuff. Now let's go to the good side. Let's talk about what's going on good. Now, the revenue growth is going back up. As you can see, at the end of 2021 into 2022, it was going down, but really you're talking 100%, 90% growth in your revenue. That's great. But now we're really looking at it going from 88 to 83 to 56 and 40. Okay, now the revenue growth is going down. Then in 2024 into 2025, it started to go back up. And then 2025, it just cratered. From going from 110% revenue growth all the way down to a 3% growth. Now we're back up to 38%. Let's see if we can get that to continue to bump up. That's what we want to see. Oh my gosh, I should have zoomed in, right? So these are the growth rates, right? Look at that. That was better, even though, again, it kind of went down. Those are some great revenue rates. Then it started to go down, then it went back up, then it just started to really go back down, and now we're headed back up, which that's the direction we want. In their earnings, they said they expect their domestic business to continue accelerating through the second half of the year. As a result, we're raising our 2026 revenue outlook and building increased conviction in 2030 targets of at least $6.5 billion in revenue, $1.3 billion in adjusted EBITDA. So if we look at just this latest 3 months that they had, right? Just this. The monthly revenue per subscriber went up 21%. The subscribers went up 19%. United States revenue up 16%, and the rest of the world revenue went up 1,600%. That's amazing. One thing why Hims has had a bad time this year is mostly because of the first quarter. The first quarter of the lawsuit, them putting out their own GLP-1 and all that stuff, and then Novo saying, no, we're going to sue you, and having to go through all that, it destroyed their first quarter. Because you look at these numbers, these are great numbers. But then if you just add in, if you total in the first quarter, it gets way worse. Right now, the subscribers up 19%. So essentially you could say like, oh man, they did not grow any subscribers the first quarter. The monthly revenue per subscriber only up 4%. So again, this last quarter was huge. United States revenue only up 3%. So obviously, again, the first quarter was just bad. The first quarter was bad, but now we're moving in a good direction. Revenue growth is driven by expanding subscribers. So again, they went up about 300,000 subscribers, which is great. The monthly revenue is going up for each subscriber, which these are all good directions for what we want. The international is going up. It went about 1,600% or almost 17x. And that's just going to continue to grow. I don't expect this to just stave off. I believe this thing that will continue to grow. For the third quarter, they expect 880 million to 900 million. And for the full year, they expect 3.1 to 3.3 billion dollars. Now, this is important. I'm going to show you why. So this was what their outlook was, or is, for the third quarter is 880 million to 900 million, which would be a 47 to 50% year-over-year growth. And their fiscal year is 3.1 to 3.3 billion with 32 to 41% year-over-year growth, which is great. But the reason why this is also so great is we have to check this out, right? Now, this is what we just looked at. This is what we looked at. This is what they're projecting for the next quarter and for this year. Let me show you what they were projecting at the end of last year. It was the fourth quarter of 2025. And they said, this is what we think we're going to make this year. They said in the first quarter, we're going to make only 600 to 625 million, which is only 2 to 7%. Which when you're talking about a quarter, things happen, and they did have a bad first quarter. So they were pretty spot on with that. But they also said they were only going to grow 15 to 24% for the year. But then after their first quarter, what did they do? They raised it. Now, of course, again, the quarters don't exactly matter, but the year over year, now we're going to 19 to 28%, right? They raised it again. Hey, we're going to make more money this year. And then the next earnings comes out and they said, nope, we're still going to make more. Now we're looking at 32 to 41%. So every single time they've released earnings, they're projecting bigger earnings for the year, which is great. That's what I like to hear. A lot of confidence, and they're putting numbers on. They're putting it on the paper. They're saying this is what we think we're going to make. So the management kind of has to stick to that, right? This is the chart. Long way to go. This is when the SPAC got announced and everything. Everyone got excited. Then it just went down as everything else did in 2022 to 2023, right? And this was actually 2021 mostly. So everyone got excited for the SPAC, and then it just continued to go down. But ever since then, ever since people really started to understand what it's going to be, lucky people bought it, like $4? Oh my goodness gracious, right? That was great. And it continued to bounce around a lot. And then over here, just rocket, right? Basically at the end of 2023, 2024, just shot up, and it got insane, right? It went to the 60s, tapped $70, but we're not there anymore. And then it went all the way back down to $14, $15 range. So as you can see, the long-term view of it is going up. Yes, there's a lot of crap happening with Hims, a lot of stuff happening. But at the end of the day, I do believe the platform's going to do well, the management's going to do the right thing, and that's just my opinion. So I think there's a long way to go with Hims. I believe it's going to reach all-time highs eventually. Maybe it'll be in a year, in 2 years. I mean, if this thing hits $70 in 2 years, I mean, that's a double up from today. And my cost basis is at like 25 or 22. Like that'd be a great return on my money. So it's not like I'm in a rush. I don't need this thing to double. People saw Nvidia and people they saw Tesla, and you see AMD, and you see certain stocks go up a certain way, a Palantir, and people want to relive that same euphoria, and they think that it's how stocks work, which it's not. Typically, those stocks will also crater and come back to reality, like Palantir did. So, that's just what it is. Tesla, it went way up, and granted, it's still way up than it was 10 years ago, but it hasn't done that same thing. So every stock has its moment. This stock was at $4, and now it's almost at $30. So, and it's not even close to being done. So all these stocks have that. Just keep looking to get good companies, and that's how it is. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. About 20 minutes, that's all right. I appreciate everyone who does watch. Please give me a like and subscribe if you are watching still. And yeah, I believe HIMSS is going through a moment right now, kind of, but once they settle, once they get news out, I think they're going to. The good thing about the settlement and this lawsuit is that it's forcing them to change it now, and it's forcing them to provide a better experience for their users immediately or quicker, right? So that's what I do like, because there were some issues. There were some issues. I've done it, and I should have actually uploaded, because I have a screen. Screenshot or whatever, like screen video of like, hey, this is what it takes to cancel it. And I mean, I can do it in 3 clicks. It's not that hard. So yeah, I believe that they're going to say they could have done better at communicating. Maybe they'll delay the payment a day or two. Or I think there'll be something like that. But at the end of the day, like I said, they're also shipping medical stuff. Once they get an order and once you are approved, they get that in and they send it to you right away. I mean, you are going to them because you wanted that product, right? Like if you get approved, you want it, right? You don't typically send an application for a loan if you don't want the loan. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, if you want to buy a specific car or a house, right? If you're doing I want to see what I can, how much I can actually get for a house, but how much I can qualify for a house. But it's because you were looking to get the house. You're looking to get a house, right? And so, I mean, it's somewhat different, but you're going to HIMSS specifically. It's I want this medication from HIMSS. Can I get approved? And once they approve you, you're going to go. You get it. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I do think they're going to settle, and then they're going to move on. And that's that. A lot of companies settle. Meta just settled for $16 billion. HIMSS is going to have to settle for maybe $15 million. Obviously, different market caps, different businesses. Not even going to compare there, but that's kind of part of doing business in a way. Not all the time, but it is. That's why having an LLC and you're limiting your liability, because people can come at you for all kinds of things and stuff happens, right? So anyway, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Please give me a like and subscribe. It really helps. And never forget to earn it, save it, invest it, buy low, sell high. I want assets, not liabilities, and you can count on compounded interest.